Good morning and welcome to Furloughed with Vegan Pete, episode 8. I am Vegan Pete and I'm furloughed at the moment, hence the name of the show. It's Friday, but I have to say, after a couple of weeks of being at home and 1 week of working at home, then another couple weeks of furloughed at home, I'm having a little bit of trouble keeping the day straight. So I kind of have to think of my past streams to figure out what day it is. Because when I don't have to drive to work, I kind of lose track of where all the days are. So it could be Friday or it could be Sunday. They're all starting to feel kind of the same to me. I don't know. So I hope everyone's having an amazing day. Thank you all so much for joining me here. If you ever want to add to the show, you can participate in Twitch chat or you can call in via our Discord. Just join the On Deck channel and then hop in live, and I will drag you into live on air. And you can say all your thoughts live on air on Twitch. We'll see what you have to say. KK saying, hey, are you still officially furloughed? I am still officially furloughed, but I got an email late last night that there's a company-wide webinar today at 2 p.m. So since stuff hasn't really improved, I'm guessing mostly, it's either going to continue being furloughed or getting official layoff notice. So that's probably happening at 2 a.m. today. Look forward to it. Super excited if you can tell. All right, so let's get some of the unfortunate news out of the way. A little bit of bad news. 2 a.m. Did I say 2 a.m.? 2 p.m. My bad. 2 p.m. today. A little bad news to start out this show, but I think it's important because there is going to be some spin from some people about the death numbers coming out of COVID-19. In the last couple of days, COVID-19 has become the number one cause of death in America at over 1,900 deaths per day, ahead now of cancer and heart disease. That's the bad news. The good news is that in a lot of the hotspots like New York City, it looks like we might be hitting the peak, or we've already hit the peak. The number of new cases of COVID-19 is declining. Deaths are always a little bit behind the cases, so deaths may rise for a week or so and then start to come back down, and they're usually 1 or 2 weeks behind the number of cases. So as long as cases are declining, then the deaths should eventually decline as well. Models that were originally predicting about 120,000 to 200,000 deaths are now showing that about 60 to 80K by August, so basically has more than been cut in half. KK McLeod says, still concerned about any Easter spreading. I'm concerned about that. We had a president that went on air saying he wanted the churches packed on Easter. Hopefully, people like Dr. Fauci and other medical experts have done enough to dissuade those people from going out and packing the said churches. You can celebrate Easter at home. Hide some eggs around your yard. If you're religious, you can do your own little personal service at home, okay? It's you shouldn't be going out. You're going to end up killing other churchgoers if you all go out. It's not going to be a good time. Ivory Miss says, I've heard a lot of churches defying stay-at-home orders. I've heard reports of that as well. I guess both luckily and unluckily, it happens to be the mega church. I don't know if they're pastors or priests. I'm not religious by any means. So I don't know exactly what they're called, but it seems to be those people running the mega churches who are still trying to get people to come out, because those are the ones that are looking to make bucks off of people. I think it's the small town, small community churches that actually do good in their community. Hopefully those are staying closed, and I've heard more reports of them staying closed than the big mega churches who are looking to just make a bunch of money off of people. But I have already heard people talking about these numbers and trying to spin it like we overreacted with the lockdown measures. They don't seem to realize that if we hadn't acted as strongly and as swiftly as we did, that there would be a crazy amount of more cases and deaths. The former head of the CDC says that if New York City had acted 2 weeks earlier, they could have avoided 50 to 80% of the deaths that they have been experiencing right now. Talon says, I've been working my tail off editing video to get a church service live for Easter. That's what you should be doing. Thank you for doing that, Talon. We are doing everything we can to keep people connected, but also staying true to the day. And I think you can do that, and you can stay safe. So thank you for working your ass off to do that, Talon. That is very much appreciated by everyone. So yeah, as much as it sucks, as much as it seems like we've been quarantined for so long already, we could have acted even sooner. We could have done better. And while we could have done better, we can't change the past. But we can change what happens in the future, though. So if we keep up the stay-at-home orders, if we keep on social distancing, we can prevent a whole lot of deaths. If we decide we've done enough and it's time to open up the economy again, send everyone back to work, start packing restaurants and stadiums again, we're going to end up killing a lot more people because we're just going to get another huge spike. I've mentioned it before. We're not truly going to be safe until there is a vaccine for this. And I don't know how any sports events are going to open up without a vaccine. Because just think about going to a baseball game, a football game, whatever sport you're going to. It just takes one person that has it to be potentially spread it to a ton of people. You're giving the ticket attendant your ticket. If you're sick, you're passing it on that. And how many other people are they going to touch? You're getting it on your money. You're buying your hot dog. So you're spreading it to that cashier. The cashier is potentially passing it to every other person that they give food to. You're sick and you're sitting in your chair, your team scores, and you high five everyone in your section. You just spread it to everyone there, and they're all doing the exact same thing. So I seriously don't know how sports are going to reopen anytime soon. I'm not counting on any of that. Unless they're playing in stadiums with no fans, and they're testing all the players all the time. So, this is actually a little like football. We're starting to get ahead of COVID-19. We're starting to get ahead. We're starting to put the pressure on. We're driving cases down with the measures we're taking. And in football, when a team gets a lead and it's in the fourth quarter, they start to play what's called a prevent defense. And that's meaning they will give up the short 10 to 15 yard plays to avoid getting beat by the long bomb, the long pass. So that would be like us right now playing a prevent defense and loosening up a little on regulations right now. Like if we started sending kids back to school and then allowing gatherings of up to 20 people, then opening up restaurants, doing little things that eventually snowball into a big thing. And before you know it, we've blown our lead. Again, we're playing from behind. We need to absolutely stay aggressive against this and not let up. You can't let up just because you see some of the cases dropping, because they're not dropping at a fast rate. They're just now starting to go down. So we have to keep on doing what we're doing. That's how we're going to win. That's how we're going to beat this thing. Don't relax. Just stay home. Be smart. And then they are coming out with antibody tests so they can tell who has or who should have immunity. We don't know 100% now, but if it works like other viruses, once you catch it, you should build up an immunity to it. So they're even talking about having immunity cards. So you can like prove that you've been tested and you have the antibodies and you're okay to be out and you can't get infected again. And so maybe they're going to do that and have people start returning to work if you do have immunity to it. And Awesome is saying UFC Fight Island. Yes. See, I'm okay with the Fight Island. They're doing it without any fans. As long as you can find the amount of proper staff, I'm okay with that. Caterpan says the length of antibody effectiveness is still to be proven. Yes, we don't know for sure, but from what I've read from doctors, if it acts like other viruses, we should have some antibody effectiveness to it anyways. Hopefully it's in the 6 to 12 month range, just like other strains. Yes, I think that is what everyone has their fingers crossed for. I haven't heard of cases or of people who have, beaten it supposedly and then getting reinfected like a month later or anything like that. So hopefully there is antibody immunity to this. So a little bad news with the amount of deaths we're having right now, but hopefully everyone keeps on taking this seriously. Don't fall for anyone saying, oh, it's not that bad. Look, we're only going to have 60,000 deaths, and that's about how much the flu kills every year. Well, that's the whole year, and this is like, we're up to something like 17,000 or something already in the first 3 months of the year. So hitting 60 by August, well, it could be a lot worse, is still not great. We still could have done more, and we have to keep on doing more. Let's move on to some good news, though. The NFL is looking to do some good in these hard times. NFL announced that the 2020 NFL Draft will serve as a 3-day virtual fundraiser benefiting 6 charities selected by the NFL Foundation that are battling the spread of COVID-19 and delivering relief to millions in need. The Draftathon, as they're calling it, will be featured across live draft coverage on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and NFL Network April 23rd to 25th, and pay tribute to healthcare workers and first responders in a variety of ways, including raising funds for the work being done to combat the impact of COVID-19. Funds will help support 6 national nonprofits and their respective COVID-19 relief efforts. So they're going to be funding the American Red Cross, CDC Foundation's All of Us Combat Coronavirus campaign, Feeding America's COVID-19 Response Fund, Meals on Wheels COVID-19 Response Fund, Salvation Army, and United Way's COVID-19 Community Response and Recovery Fund. And Cater Pants is upset because it's not going to be on ESPN The Ocho. Fans and other supporters can donate through one central fund throughout the 3 days, which will add to the more than $43 million already donated by the collective NFL family. More details about the Draftathon and how to donate will be announced in the coming days. So this all looks pretty good on the surface and definitely is good for the charities. But I always give the NFL a little bit of side eye and think about what they could be doing if they could be having ulterior motives behind this decision. And I think they could be doing this just to squash any criticism of them going forward with the draft in late April. A memo from the league was put out that people in the league are not to criticize the league's choice to move forward with the draft on schedule. And while they have changed it, it's no longer being held in Vegas, open to the public. It's going to be held in a studio, and teams will be working from their respective cities' headquarters instead of there in person. But despite the memo that people should not criticize, some GMs have spoken out and are going on record as insisting that it should be delayed instead of going on as scheduled, because it's a much harder and it's not safe to do all the things that they usually do in their pre-draft routines. When teams are thinking about drafting people, they fly them to their facilities to do physicals, have them run some drills and interview them. But team facilities are closed right now, and it's an awful time to fly. If you don't have to fly right now, you shouldn't be flying. Because just think about all those people that you're around while you're in the security line, while you're in a concession line to get some water while you're waiting for your plane, and of course, when you are on your plane, because they like to pack us in there like sardines. So really not a good time to fly if you don't have to. I think they want it to run on schedule, because if they delay the draft, then that most likely means delaying training camp, and then they most likely delay the season. And While 43 million sounds like a big number, and that's a good donation from the NFL made close to $17 billion last year. And that's basically just off TV deals. That doesn't include the amount that teams themselves make off tickets, concessions, and other events that they hold at the stadium. Also, don't forget that almost every owner in the NFL has multi-billions in personal wealth. So, we cannot depend on the philanthropy of billionaires. We need to start taxing the shit out of them so we can be prepared for events like this to begin with. Moving on. Thank you, Ivory Mist. They agree. A cool feature that has been teased for a while on Twitch is something called watch parties. And a few partners have had this. It's been beta tested for a little while now. But they plan to roll it out to all streamers in the next few months, and all partners have just received it. So what is a watch party on Twitch? It's a new feature that enables your community to watch movies or TV shows on Amazon Prime together. So at this time, both the streamer and the viewer need to be subscribers to Amazon Prime. Chili saying North America, I think. I did not see North America being mentioned specifically in the articles that I read about this, but it's always a possibility. So if anyone is internationally subscribed to Amazon Prime and you're a partner, you can let me know if you have it or you don't. So it sucks if it's a NA only, because this would be something I would really like to do with all people who are in our community. So like I said, at this time you do need to be a subscriber to Amazon Prime. I would imagine it will take a lot. There are a lot of streamers that are going to want to do this, so I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I understand why Amazon is doing this, requiring both the streamer and the viewer to have their own Amazon Prime accounts, because there's going to be a lot of streamers doing this. So if you don't have Amazon Prime, you'd probably be able to find whatever you want on Amazon Prime. There's probably someone that's going to be streaming it, and they don't want you to leech off of that like that. There is an alternative to this, though. My wife used to have one of her friends come over every week to watch The Magicians when the show is in season and new. But during this time of social distancing, that wasn't possible. So the workaround that they did last week was to do it on Discord. You can make a private channel in your Discord, or you can leave it open to other people in your Discord if you want, whatever Discord's max is. And you can stream in there just to the people in the channel and stream whatever you're watching. So if you don't have Prime and there's something you want to watch out there, just make a friend with Prime and have them stream in a private channel on Discord, and you can have your own little watch party without having to broadcast it all on Twitch. And I think this is a fun idea, though it can be a lot of fun for the community. Hopefully, eventually they find a way where people who don't have subs can try it out. Maybe give them like a month, like give everyone a month free of Prime. I'm not sure if there's a free trial out right now or not. I think it's fun for the community. You can have them vote on a show to watch together, maybe watch an episode or two of it at the same time each week. Then you can kind of like discuss it afterwards. I think it has a lot of potential. And if you don't have Prime, I believe you can share a Prime account with one other person now. It used to be able to be shared with 4 people, but I think they lowered it to 1 now. So you could split the cost with one other person if, say, there's 2 of you that don't have it and you just want to go in halves on it. That's another possibility if you want to get it a legitimate way. I'm always interested in what new ways people come up with to skirt the system, though. So let me know if you have any good ways to skirt Amazon Prime. And I think there's a student version as well. So if you're a student, I think you can get a discounted version of Prime. so that's pretty nice. Gator Pants says, "Oh man, I took your advice and started downloading Final Fantasy VII, and it's killing the stream." Yeah, it can do that. The Real Hot Chili Pepper says, "By the way, Stadia is giving 2 months Pro for free with 9 games. So if you buy Stadia right now, you're gonna get 2 months free of their Pro level, and you're gonna get 9 games for free. Oh, don't need to buy. They're just giving it away. You have to buy their controller though. Can you use another controller, or do you have to use theirs?" Awesome Austin says, "Student Prime is where it's at." Yeah, I think it's a pretty substantial discount on the Student Prime. Oh, Chili says, "You don't have to use their controller. You can use the DualShock." So if you've been wanting to try out Google Stadia, which is a video game streaming service, you can get 2 months of Pro for free and 9 games apparently right now. That might even make me check out Google Stadia, which I have not been too excited about, to be honest. Let's move on to well, I guess we kind of have been talking about sports, haven't we? Let's keep on some sports. 2 days ago, we talked about how UFC president Dana White was going to great lengths to make UFC 249 happen on April 18th, going as far to securing a spot on tribal land to get around state and federal regulations, and as Chili said in chat, also having Fight Island. He dropped a promotional video that day to get you hyped, and calling it the most stacked card of the year. But yesterday, it went a little south for him. While he was willing to stand up to politicians, he crumbled pretty quickly when his corporate overlords got involved. ESPN is the UFC broadcast partner. You get some free fight night bouts from there, and you can order the pay-per-views through them as well. And who owns ESPN now? That's right, the mouse does. Disney. They own just about everything right now, don't they? Dana White got calls from the highest levels at ESPN and Disney urging him to cancel the event. And apparently it was California Governor Gavin Newsom that called Disney officials, urging them to step in and cancel the fights. Now you may be wondering, what about Fight Island? Have no fear, Dana White has confirmed that Fight Island is still happening and should be up and running in a couple of months, and is vowing to be the first sport back from all the canceled sports right now. So maybe not going to get much in the next 2 months from the UFC. I imagine if they had to cancel this, that was their Hail Mary effort to keep it going, having it on tribal lands. So that won't be happening anymore. We might have to wait until Fight Island. And much like the NBA 2K tournament with actual NBA players, Major League Baseball is partnering with Sony for an MLB The Show season featuring Major League Baseball players. And that's right, I said season. It's not going to be just a tournament. The regular season will start today and will last through April 28th. The postseason will begin April 30th, with the World Series being played on May 2nd. 8 teams are going to be making the postseason, and the postseason series will be best out of 3 for the 2 first rounds, and best out of 5 for the World Series. And a note to the MLB, I personally would have no problem with actual baseball series being shortened to 3 and 5 games, because it seems like postseason baseball just takes way too long. It looks like these are actually going to be streamed live, unlike what happened with the NBA 2K fights. But what about the actual money, Pete? Are you talking about the money that all the baseball teams make from their long series? Well, just deal with it. That's too much. Too many games. And they usually don't go 7 anyways. And I know a Game 7 can be really exciting, but Game 5 will be just as exciting as Game 7 if they go to the best of 5 series. It does, but postseason seems like the only time players get serious. Well, they honestly should shorten the the regular season as well. They could cut it in half, and that would be enough, to be honest. But like Ivory mentioned, if you cut it in half, you basically cut your ticket revenue in half. I don't know if you'd lose that much on the TV deals as well, which is probably where most of the money comes from. So it would be hard to work that out. I don't know if any players would be willing to take some pay cuts to play less games. I don't think they mind playing a large amount of games, to be honest. But 162 baseball games per year in the regular season, that's a freaking lot of games, man. That's way too much. And how often, I don't think it's very often, how often does like a team that's dead last at the All-Star break ever make a run to make the playoffs? Or even not even dead last, but just like a couple spots out of that wild card spot. They rarely make that run into the playoffs. Seems like the whole second half of baseball usually isn't that exciting. It's usually exciting when your team's already in the playoffs and they're just like fighting for a higher seed. I don't know. But like I said, I like that these are actually going to be live. You'll be able to watch it on Twitch from either the player's personal Twitch or their team's Twitch account. The Indians did it. Saw it in a movie. We've got our first major league reference. There should be the first game tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, where Tampa Bay Rays pitcher Blake Snell and Cincinnati Reds reliever Amir Garrett will go at it on Snell's Twitch channel, which makes me more excited for this over the basketball one because it's going to be live. And another thing they said they're going to have is an announcer, which the NBA stream did not have. The article states that MLB Network broadcaster Robert Flores will facilitate conversations between players and fans. So it seems like there's going to be an actual MLB Network broadcaster who's going to be looking at Twitch chat. If this gets any sort of big viewership, I can imagine that the Twitch chat is going to be absolute mayhem and mostly crap. So it's going to be very hard on Robert Flores to try to facilitate conversations between players and fans. They're going to be few and far between real questions in the Twitch chat for that. If it gets the normal mega stream viewers that are just filled with emotes and spam. But I like it. Even if the announcer was just there to ask questions between the players and just keep the conversation flowing, because that was the biggest problem that I saw with the NBA match that I watched, NBA 2K match that I watched. The players were just very quiet. And I was told that I should watch the match that had Patrick Beverley in it because he is more of a shit talker. So maybe I'll give the NBA 2K one another chance, watch that Patrick Beverley one, see when he's playing again. But if there's anyone else out there that's like me, who supports a baseball team that isn't very good, that doesn't really have a chance at winning the World Series like my Padres, this might be the best chance we have for them to win. And if I wasn't streaming tonight, I would definitely be checking out, but I'll have to watch the VOD. But I'm excited for this one. I am missing sports, as you can probably tell, because I have some sports stories in here. I do imagine that the majority of eyeballs on Twitch tonight will be focused on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I know a lot of you in chat are excited for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I know many of you come with me from Final Fantasy XIV. I know many of you are going to be watching streams, many of you are going to be streaming, and I am super excited for everyone. I know some of you started streaming last night as soon as that clock struck midnight and your digital download got released from prison so you can start playing it. And I do have it downloaded. I'll start streaming on my normal Sunday stream most likely, but who knows, maybe I'll get that urge and start streaming on Saturday. I'll let you know. I've only had it for a couple of days, and it's kind of killing me not playing. I don't know how some of you did it that received your copy weeks ago and have just been sitting on it, waiting for the proper time to be able to stream. KK says, what nerd would do that? What nerd would start right at midnight? Well, KK must be looking at the mirror because I saw him streaming it right at midnight. Mieko says, 4 more days until they are able to play. It's almost there. And Chili Pepper says, it hurt not streaming. I know Chili was sitting on his copy for at least a week. Might have been 2 weeks. And Caterpan says, I've tried to avoid Final Fantasy streams just in case of spoilers. Yes, I am doing the same thing as well. So that's another reason I'm getting that urge to play and kind of want to start on Saturday instead of Sunday. We will see. But so many were streaming last night and wanted to support. Yeah, I definitely popped into a few just to say hi. I'll leave you up in the background, but I did not want to be spoiled too much. I watched like the opening little movie intro thing, and I saw like a couple mobs get killed. Well, I thought most eyes would be on the Final Fantasy VII Remake tonight, and I went to the category section of Twitch just to confirm my suspicion, but I was actually wrong. When I checked this morning, the remake was actually 3rd on the top categories on Twitch at 215,000 viewers. League of Legends was at 290,000, and Valorant was at 1.2 million viewers. Apparently, viewers just can't get enough of shooters. And I don't know too much about this game. I started hearing about it like a week or 2 ago. It's another shooter, but team-based instead of battle royale. Are there any really spoilers for a game that came out in 97? Asks Awesome Austin. I would say yes, because there are new characters in this game, and they're going to be doing it differently. So I would imagine there are some potential spoilers in this. Maybe if you were just to say like a general plot point, it might not be that much of a spoiler, but yeah, I think new characters is a big potential spoiler. So we'll see. Oakenhop says game quality usually shares an inverse relationship with the number of concurrent Twitch viewers, barring new releases. So that's an interesting theory. The number of viewers on Twitch for a game means that the game is not of good quality. We shall see. Maybe we can do a little research into that. See if we can get a game theory going on. Chili saying a lot of bots are watching Valorant right now, and Valorant is doing Twitch drops to get into a beta, so people doing bots to get in. That's interesting. I really do like Twitch drops, though. I think it's a really fun thing that I've noticed ESO does on occasion. And I wish Square Enix would do it for some of their games, and especially Final Fantasy XIV. Awesome Austin says, oh, okay, I haven't watched much except the announcement. I'm on the fence if I should buy it now or wait. I have so many other games to play. Yeah. If you have a huge backlog, maybe play those first. But, if you have the money for it and you don't want to potentially be spoiled by anything and you actually know you'll play it if you buy it, I would go ahead and buy it. But if you don't think you're going to get to it, then you just wait. Hold on to it for a bit. Now, it looks like we have someone on deck. Looks like KK McLeod wants to chime in on the Final Fantasy VII Remake. So let's talk to KK McLeod. KK, how are you doing today?
Hold on, I gotta take out the stream. I'm doing pretty good this morning. It's always nice to have a Friday off.
Well, so what are you doing with your Friday off, KK?
Well, I'm doing a little bit of everything. Watching some wonderful Furloughed with Vegan Pete.
Thank you.
And did a little stream of FF7 Remake, and I've also been hitting the 14 as well. And I'll go back to 7 periodically throughout the day. I just can't sit and stream it continuously because I have little ones right here.
Always getting interrupted by those kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, first impressions of Final Fantasy VII. How are you liking it? Of the remake?
I am definitely really liking it. I find what they do and the changes that they make and how they kind of jump right to some of that end stuff. That's not end stuff. It's just stuff you find out later on. Is Was a little
So
surprising.
they're not necessarily
There
doing it in the same order as the original, is what you're saying.
it is still in the same order, but they constantly bring in elements that should be a little later on in the game, and those are a little bit spoilery. But I mean, if you have played the game before, you know what happens. It's just they hit it to you. They hit it at you pretty quickly in this.
Okay. So we're getting some important plot points out there quickly for you.
Yes, yes, you do. You can debate as to whether it's a good move or not because I don't know how far you're going to get in this game. Not you personally, I'm talking about how as far as the game
I
gets.
was
I
gonna
don't know
say you
if you
don't have
actually
much
get
faith
out
in
of
me, huh? You don't
Midgar.
think I'm gonna get very far?
No, I'm talking about like, do you actually get to leave Midgar and get to your first town of Calm nearby within this disc or not? I'm not 100% sure. But what you would learn in that town, they're kind of giving you glimpses early on because they know that you're not going to be able to see some of that stuff. You're not going to hear the main theme. You would normally not hear the main theme until you walk outside of Midgar, but they bring it in a little earlier because I don't know if you're going to actually get outside the town in this game.
Okay. And you mentioned the main theme. I stopped by your stream really quickly last night, and one of the
Mhm.
things I heard you saying was you needed to turn the music up because that was something you very much like hearing in the forefront while you're playing. How have you been enjoying the music of the game so far?
I have been enjoying the music. At first when I was playing the demo, I thought that the music felt a little toned down. Some of the themes didn't hit as hard, especially like the Mako reactor theme. In the original, the music hits a little harder. In this, they are trying to balance it with voiceovers and things like that, and the orchestral production is less industrial sound as it
Hmm.
does in the original. So it's all very kind of orchestral sounding. It's more fluid and more um, yeah, more fluid, I guess is the word.
Okay. So good
So
music. Have the graphics been impressing you?
they have. There's been some really good lightings. There are other parts where the detail looks like it could be a little bit better in some things, but you can't have high detail on everything all the time. And I only have a 4, so it's probably partly my fault. I have an OG PS4. I don't have a Pro or anything,
Yeah,
so
so it
it could
might
look
look a
better on the
little
Pro.
bit better on the Pro. I'm on the
Mhm.
OG one as well.
And the things that they've added, there's you can upgrade your weapons, and then they have sort of skills and abilities to do with the weapons, different materials to adjust for the actual face, not fast-paced combat, but more real-time combat, the
Hmm.
sort of Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 15 style combat. So you have a materia that when you roll dodge, you'll do like an AOE strike, and it's playing that into it. So there's a lot more potential for cool materias and things like that.
Will you say that the gameplay is fairly intuitive? Like, because
I
from the classic games
Yeah.
that I've played, whether it's the junction system of 8 or the sphere grid
Mm.
of 10, I didn't find either of those inherently intuitive and definitely had
Uh,
to play around and do wrong stuff and figure it out. How about this one?
I'd say the systems are intuitive as far as the materia system works and is very simple and easy to understand. The upgrade system is also very simple. It's not ridiculous or annoying, kind of like other games. I would also, the thing that's not necessarily not intuitive, it's hard to remember is what all the buttons do what, which is your
Hmm.
roll button, which is your block button, which is your you got your button shortcuts that I was trying to get a good memorized for as to which shortcuts are doing what in the actual combat.
So a lot more than just picking spells, which is what the
I mean, you
classic one
could pick
usually is.
spells. You see, because you could hit the X button and it like sort of stops or slows down combat, then you could try to choose abilities. But if you hold L1 and you hit certain things, you can shortcut them too.
Hmm.
So then you can customize it, but then you have to remember how to do that and what your customizations were. And I didn't exactly at the time when I was trying to remember what did what.
Okay, and something that I've been wondering, and we'll probably have to have more people get through the actual game first before we have a consensus on this. But so far, do you think you would recommend this game to someone who's never played a Final Fantasy game? Do you think it's a good game to jump in to the series with?
I actually do. If you are going to jump into it at one of the first times, I would play it on easy mode. Don't be afraid of easy mode because the normal mode can be the enemies can hit pretty hard and they can do a lot of damage. And the first boss is not a cakewalk like it is in the original game. It's actually takes some work.
Interesting. Yeah, and I think while I've been playing some classic Final Fantasy games, I think I would like to get into some of the more recent ones as well. So I think once I do the 7 remake, I might do 15 after that.
I thought 15 was pretty decent. There was a lot of good stuff with it. It just didn't come together as well as it could have due to what was it?
You said
The
doo
just
doo.
production issues.
Um. Okay, so you're enjoying the game. Glad to hear that.
Mm.
Did you have anything else you would like to add today?
Nothing other than I am quite grateful of this show. The show is real nice. I like to call it after lunch with Vegan Pete, usually when I'm at work. And yeah, that's what I do right after lunch. Try to pop this on and gives me something to help power through the rest of the workday when I'm at work.
Aw, thank you so much, KK. I really appreciate that. And be sure to follow KK McLeod on Twitch so you can catch his stream.
All right.
All
Have a
right,
good day.
have a good rest of your day, KK. All right, thank you for that call in from KK McLeod. And Chili Pepper says, dinner with Pete here. Yeah, it should just be food with Pete, meals with Pete. Hi, Yogane. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining us. So, it seems like KK is enjoying Final Fantasy VII Remake. Hopefully, all of you are as well. Intermittent fasting with Pete. I have done that on occasion. I'll do a fast every now and then. So yeah, I was a little disappointed that at 215,000 viewers for Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was only third. I know League of Legends is huge, but I thought it would have been able to beat that. And I really had no idea that Valorant was getting 1.2 million viewers, even though Chili seems to be of the opinion that there are quite a few bots that are viewing on Valorant. And I guess I do and I don't get the appeal of shooter games, battle royale games, and team-based games. They are nice because as a player you can hop in really quick and get into a match. There isn't a lot of time invested and you get a quick gaming experience. That's something more difficult to do in something like Final Fantasy 14 or any MMORPGs to just hop in. You can do a dungeon, but your experience for that dungeon is largely going to be the same. I guess with a shooter game, it's always a little bit different because you're not going to have quite the same strategy. You might be dropped off in a different place on the map. So I can see how people really enjoy playing those games. I don't necessarily get why they get so many viewers on Twitch. All right, Yogane going with a random question. What's your opinion on the declining birth rates in the West? There will be a big democratic change coming soon in America. I know that it's declining. I don't know exactly how much it's declining by. And there's also going to be a big change when the large generation of baby boomers, unfortunately, gets to the end of their cycle. I don't know what the demographic change. Okay, I was like, not sure what the democratic change is going to be. Demographic change. I mean, it's something that just happens, right? The country, it's going to get younger because the baby boomers are going away, and then with the declining birth rate, it's inherently going to get older. So it's kind of going to go in a cycle, and who knows? Maybe with everyone being stuck inside, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and everyone doing a little sexy wrestling while they're stuck at home. Maybe there's going to be a baby boom at the end of this COVID-19 situation. All the COVID kids. Connolly says Generation X is on the way up. Hopefully we won't be too big in the pain in the ass. Hopefully you don't turn into the boomers. We'll see. I think my sister is Generation X. There's 12 years difference between me and her. So I'm technically at the end of I'm like a really old millennial. And I think she's actually Generation X. Julie says, gonna be a lot of babies like wartime, the COVID kids. So yeah, declining birth rate in general, I didn't think is a big deal because I think we have too many people in the world. Definitely a lot of people that shouldn't be having kids as well. So I was never concerned with the birth rate. They say our only hope at maintaining the population are the non-white race. I have not heard that. But it doesn't really matter to me whether kids being born are white or black or Asian or anything. I yearn for the day when we can all just be one gray race. So yeah, I don't know if I really have if I can say informed opinion on that. I'm not exactly sure how, like, what the birth rate would have to get down to have a severe effect on the economy or anything like that. I'm sure that it does change the voting demographic. If there's less people being born, then there might be a slightly older generation, and then the politics can kind of skew to the right a little bit. Younger people tend to skew to the left. So I'd have to do a lot more research on that. I do find it a very interesting topic, so don't feel sorry about asking that question at all. I love when people just throw me random questions for me to ask. Helps me fill up time. So, yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that. I need to see how it affects everything in general. Because I know, you have countries like China who limited the birth rate, and they seem to be doing okay right now. They still have a shit ton of people. Back to the video games, though. Oakenhop says PvP games appeal to people who prioritize gameplay. It's easier for most to wrap their heads around, and distinctions in gameplay are more apparent than the distinctions that define other genres, i.e., community, aesthetics, intellectual subjects, etc. I'd say that's a pretty accurate statement. Yeah. MMO players, especially like 14 and, ESO, there's a lot of people who are very concerned with housing and, like you said, the aesthetics of stuff. And PvP is more strategy, gameplay. So I think that is correct. And no worries, Yogain. Any race is fine. I wasn't trying to suggest you thought any other way. All right. Couple more stories we got for you. Little face palm for you today. A popular streamer has been banned from Twitch. Casey Cavness, aka Caseytron, which I can't say I had heard of or watched before, but they have been banned for hate speech. When during a stream she said, in regards to our COVID-19 situation, that, quote, the world would be a better place without old and poor people. Not a good take from Caseytron. And like a lot of people do when they do something like this, they try to say, it's just a joke, man. Why are you taking it so seriously? I'm just joking. So thankfully, so far, her ban has held up, because that was a pretty awful statement. Hopefully Twitch does not reinstate her. And from what I read in the article, she might have had a little bit of a history, maybe a previous ban. So Twitch does take into account what your previous standing was and any other strikes you might have against you. So hopefully she's gone. I did look her up on Twitch Tracker to see if she actually was a popular streamer, and it looks like she was. She was constantly averaging in the high hundreds, 600, 700 viewers, had over 1,200 subscribers at the time. So she was turning it into a full-time job. 1,200 accounts is, what is that, like 3,000 a month or something like that, close to that. Pretty good. Oakenhop says world would be a better place if banned Twitch streamers and other internet degenerates could be forced into humane labor / re-education camps. I don't think we need to have labor camps. Hey, we got a follow bot in chat. See if I can ban them really quick. / ban water fantasy. Boom. Gone with you, bot. Do you think we shouldn't be critical of other cultures? I think it's okay to be critical. You just can't be closed-minded. You have to look at what other cultures have, and if they're being bad, we gotta say that's bad, that's stupid, that sucks. And just because something is normal in your culture doesn't make it right. That's any culture at all. Oakenhops, the banned Twitch streamer labor camps would instill healthy social standards while producing valuable goods. We can't have any reason to incentivize prisons. So yeah, dumbass streamer is banned, and we're going to be wrapping up the show now so you all can get back to streaming your Final Fantasy VII and watching your Final Fantasy VII streams. But here's a bit of good news to end on for the weekend. Saturday Night Live will be back tomorrow night. The show will be produced remotely, so it will be interesting to see what kind of skits they will be able to come up with while they do it, while they are socially distanced. And that was said all that was said in a statement from NBC was that original content will include Weekend Update as well as other original content from SNL. So hopefully we can get a few more laughs in our lives this weekend from SNL. Oakenhops is predicting a lot of cats and dogs on SNL. So everyone's still going to be at home, I think. Maybe a couple people might be at each other's apartments or something like that. So I'm looking forward to that. I do like SNL, and I really like Weekend Update. So I'll be checking that out. But that is going to be it for today. Thank you all so much for coming and participating, giving us all that social interaction that we're missing out on being stuck at home. I'm aiming to do this show every weekday until I get another job. Haven't had any job offers yet or interviews. I do have a call at 2 p.m. where I might be getting my official laid off papers. So we'll see. Come join me every Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific to have some fun and talk about what's going on. So until then, I will see you on Monday. Goodbye.